What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Glad to see you guys again. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the videos so far. I appreciate you guys watching the videos. Appreciate you guys subscribing to the channel. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. Here on this channel, we do landscaping stuff with our landscaping equipment, landscaping truck, our work truck, our workhorse, our money maker, our most valuable possession on the channel, which makes all of our money so we can have our fun toys and do nice stuff. Here's our other toy, which this truck pays for and has paid for. You guys have seen all the updates for the Corvette. If you have not, go back and watch those videos. We've been to a couple car shows now this year, which have turned out absolutely awesome. We finally got this thing pretty much 98% done. And it's looking really good. Just took it out for a nice Sunday drive to pick up some items for the video for today. But today's video, we are going to be working on our 2019 Chevy Silverado Z71 LTZ 1500 pickup truck. Today's video, we are doing a brake job. So my front left driver's side is starting to squeal at me, and I'm getting my service brake pad monitor on my dash. So that lets me know that, hey, it's getting time to, or it's getting close to the time to change our brakes. So let's go ahead and do that. Some of my previous subscribers and some people have commented on my video saying that they want a shorter video. So I'm going to try to do that here in today's video, even though a brake job is a longer type of process. But I'm going to cut some segments out, especially some of the detailed portions out of the video to make the video shorter for those guys to enjoy and watch. So first things first here. Just getting out some stuff that you guys will need, some optional things out of the way. So first thing is a creeper. You don't have to have this. This is optional. Something that you could use instead is a piece of carpet, piece of old carpet. You can use your wife's couch pillows. Just kidding. Don't do that. You're going to make more work for yourself after doing your brake job. Just kidding. So use something old and raggedy that you don't mind getting a little brake dust on, a little grease, whatever. But comfortable to sit on or put your knee down on. Get yourself some shop towels or some old microfibers that you've dropped and might have wanted to throw away, but thought in your head to use as a shop towel now to get some grease off your hands. Speaking of that, start off with the gloves. Gloves might get ripped doing brake jobs. It is what it is. So, but at least start off with them, have them to use so you keep your hands less greasy for the first 10 minutes of doing your brake job. You will need a bungee cord. You do not want to have your brake lines when you take off your calipers from your rotors. If you're doing rotors too, don't leave your caliper hanging. Don't take off your caliper and leave it hanging. You will damage your brake line and it will start to leak, and then you'll have even more problems to fix. So always hang up with a bungee cord your caliper onto something. So most people usually put it on the back side, or they put it on their shocks and leave it hanging there. You will need some impacts, taking off your lug nuts. You will need some pliers. Most people always use the needle nose pliers just to get those brake clips off, and then grease your new ones and grease that part of the caliper so they don't start making a bunch of noise and that they easily slide. You want to use a wire brush to clean up that area first before you put your grease down and before you put those new clips back in. Channel locks, they make a tool to use for your caliper pistons to squeeze them back in to slide in your new brake calipers. So I don't have that tool with me. I was going to purchase that tool today when I bought these pads, but the AutoZone that I went to did not have the tool in stock, and that would have made it a lot easier. But it's okay. You can use your hand. You can use channel locks too as well, but make sure you're putting a microfiber towel on the back side of your caliper so you don't scratch up your caliper, especially if it's a high-end vehicle. Or if you care about your vehicle and the calipers and how they look, don't want to be scratching all that stuff up with channel lock teeth. You do want to use a torque wrench as well when you're tightening everything back up to make sure everything is tightened back up to spec. If you might need a mallet, a rubber mallet, don't use a full hammer like that unless you put a microfiber towel down on the area first. If you need to do some love tapping, if you know what I mean, if you're getting a little frustrated and need to love tap something off, go ahead and use the rubber mallet method. And finally, for the necessities, you guys will need your brakes. So these are the Duralast Gold semi-metallic brake pads that I'm using for this specific truck. I saw these on a review, and they actually come with the brake pad sensors, so that's a plus. When you're paying for your brake pads, they come with your hardware and your material, which is good. You always want to buy things that come with everything and not have to buy it all separately. The rear pads for 2019 Silverados for the Duralast Gold class is DG2174. I'll leave all this in the description below as well. So DG2174 is for your rear pads, and DG2173 is your front pads, and your front pads come with the brake sensor as well. Quick tip here for doing brake jobs: there's two brake pads that have a cutout in them for the brake sensor to go in. Don't put both of those pads on the same side, because you'll get to the other side and you'll see that both of those pads don't go together on that side, and then you'll have to take the other side back off and flip-flop the pads with at least one of them, and that just makes more work for yourself. So here are some of the optional tools that you might need. These tools are just going to make your job a lot easier and make the job go faster. If you're doing it in the dark or in a darker area, you're going to need a head flashlight, hands-free. I love this thing. I love using it. Gives me nice good light. Some brake cleaner. I use Big Orange just because it stays on there, it cleans, and then the first time I go to pressure wash or go through some rain or a puddle or something, it washes all the brake dust off. So I really like the Big Orange stuff. You can use brake cleaner as well, quickly dries. That's what most people use as well. This is the big boy right here. It's gonna make our job taking off our lug nuts on our all four wheels a lot faster. We got our ratcheting wrench, our electric ratcheting wrench as well, if we need to use that. Makes the job go a lot quicker. Our manual ratchets, extensions. This is a magnet. You don't really need this for a brake job. I just threw it out here as well because it's a good tool to have, and it comes in very good handy, especially when you're working in engine bays and you drop a bit or a screw or something and you need to retrieve it and your hands can't fit down in an area. And the last things that are optional, those aren't optional. You definitely need those if you're jacking up your car. But this is your Daytona jack. Different brands out there, use whatever you have. Doesn't matter, just as long as it works properly and it's safety first and it's safe for you to use while you're up underneath a car or a truck. So I use this. This is what I have. I have my actual low pro for the Corvette there. This one's for the truck, higher lift. So we can get the truck up off the ground, and then we put our jack stands up underneath there, because I see some people putting their legs up underneath their vehicles or actually going up underneath their vehicle with just the jack up underneath the car, and that's very dangerous, because if this thing fails and the pump goes back down slowly as you're up underneath the car, or just fails automatically and drops the vehicle down on you, that's a very, very bad day that you and your family do not want to have. So always make sure you got your jack stands up underneath, supporting as a secondary support for your jack as well, your pump jack. So let's move the truck over to the middle of the driveway and let's get this brake job started and clear this stuff out of the way. And just like that, the truck is moved over to the center of the driveway, so we got room on both sides to work here. So let's hop in the truck and do one of the most important steps, so that when you guys are all done with your brake job, your screen will properly work and you will be able to reset your brake pad life in your truck. So again, this is a 2019 Silverado 1500 Z71 LTZ, and this truck does have the electronic braking system along with the brake pad wear sensors. We are going to be putting our truck into brake service mode. Again, that's a very important step so that you guys will be able to reset your brake pad life on your dash screen. I wanted to show you guys the message that we're getting on our dash, so let's turn the truck on. Our stop start off, that's from our Pulsar LT that we installed on the truck, and there's our service brake pad monitor. So that's the message that we want to see right there. We really don't want to see that, but we know when we do see it, it's time to go ahead and change it. Now we're going to move our truck into brake service mode. This is a very important step so that when you come back into your vehicle, you can update and reset your brake pad monitor life percent. Because that's a big thing that people forget to do, and when they go back to get in their truck, they try to reset it, and all of their menu items are not available for them to reset. They're unhighlighted in this case. So let's actually go in here and look at it and see what it looks like. So let's scroll over. Service system. So here's our brake pad life. It right now says service system. Once we get done with this brake job, if we didn't put our truck in brake service mode, those percents for each wheel will be unhighlighted, and we'll be unable to use our menu button here, our OK button, to click on them and reset our brake pad life. But once we put our truck into brake service mode, we are going to be able to come back into this brake pad life menu right here, and all four of our wheels, our front, we're going to be able to come back into this menu, and our front pads are going to be highlighted for us to press OK and reset back to 100%, and so is our rear pads. So that's always an important step. So how to put your truck in brake service mode. So I'm going to tell you how to do it first, and then I'm going to show you. So what you're going to do is you're going to turn your truck on. So you're going to push on your brake pedal, turn your truck on. Once your truck is on, you'll let it do its thing. Once it does its thing, you're going to let off the brake pedal, put your foot back on the brake pedal. You're going to push your park brake for 10 seconds. Your parking brake is going to set. You're going to continue to hold your park brake button for that full 10 seconds, or until your yellow park light comes on with a wrench underneath it and it starts blinking yellow. Once it does that, and once you see that, you're going to release your foot off the brake pedal, release your finger off of the parking brake, and quickly press the parking brake one more time. And it'll release your red parking brake will turn off, and your yellow park light with the wrench underneath it will stay illuminated. And then you'll turn your truck off, and then you'll go out and start working on your brakes. So let me show you guys how to do that right now. Foot on the brake, start our truck. Truck is started, let it do its thing. Cancel out with your OK button anything that pops up. Service brake pad monitor, we're going to be doing that. Service brake system, we're going to be doing that. Okay, now we're ready. Foot on the brake, press and hold our park button for 10 seconds. Our parking brake is going to set right there. Continue to hold that button until you see your icon with your wrench pop up and start blinking. There it is. We're going to release the brake pedal, release our finger, press it one more time, just like that. So now we park brake release. So now we are in brake service mode. All right, guys, we are ready for our front driver's side. We got our truck jacked up with our pump jack, and on the back side with the jacking stand. I showed you guys how to do that. I made a separate video for you guys if you're wondering where the jacking points are on a 2019 Silverado, front and rear. We got everything set up here and ready to go. Pads are ready to come out. New pads are ready to go in. New brake pad monitor right here. Got some brake lube. Got all our hardware. The reason why I went with the Duralast Golds is because they come with the new brake pad monitors. So I like that, and those go right into this notch that I was talking about earlier. So make sure you guys are putting these on the correct side. And my tip is always remember just to take a quick video on your cell phone. Just start from this side and pan your video around the whole entire thing, getting every single bolt to see where everything goes, so that if you forget, you always can refer back to your video. My dad taught me that, so I always remember to do that every single time I'm doing work on any of my vehicles. It's just a little reminder and peace of mind for yourself. If you forget something, you can refer back to that video to see where that piece went. So I know that my clips went here, I know that this guard went here, how it went, little things like this, because this guard actually has a little lip, and these lips go on the top side and not the bottom side. So that could be something that you forget and flip-flop this, and you'll get it wrong and wonder why it's not going on properly.
and then you'll refer back to your video. Oh, it's got lips. These were lips were supposed to go on the top side and not the bottom side. Let me do that. Boom, there you go, problem fixed. And you're on to the next one. So let's go ahead and get started, guys. All right, guys, we're ready to go here. Got our rods greased up there, and we're going to grease the bottoms of our caliper as well once we get our old pads out. But the first thing we're going to do is take these clips off, 1, 2, and then our big clip here, 3. Remove our rods, and then compress our pistons, and then release our brake pads here, and then take off our old brake pad sensor there. I'll be using my needle nose pliers. This is where those come in handy. We're going to twist this one so we can get a better look at it, just like that. This one just needs a little twist there. So let's take these out, just like that. It's 1, 2, off. Remember, make sure you indicate and look at, so when you put your new one on, that they go back on just the same. The lips go on the top side. So there's our old one right there. Take these rods out. They should just pull out just like that. Real nice and easy. Just that's the reason why I lubed up my new ones, so that next brake job these will come out easy, just like these are. Nice and easy. So now we're going to compress both of our brake pads here onto our pistons, and my microfiber on the back side of my caliper here so I don't damage it with the teeth. So I'm going to keep doing all 4, and then I'll bring you guys back in. Alright, bringing you guys back in here. We just worked both sides, our pistons. We worked this side pops back out. You pull, you squeeze this side pops back out, excuse me. You just work them back and forth until the pads are very loose in them, just like this, to where you can pull them out very easily and slide in your new pads. So sliding this old one out. So as you can see there, we still got pad life left on this one, but changing it anyway because this one has a little bit lower and is chirping at me with our indicator here on this side. So just note how that came out. Our chirper is on the top side from the closest side to us, so this is how the brake pad went in. Just note that you pull it out so that you put your new one in the exact same way. Put your chirper on the top side, just like this for your new pad. So now for this side, this brake pad right here, we have to remove our brake pad monitor right here. All right, bringing you guys back in here. We just removed the top side of our brake pad sensor. All you do is stick a screwdriver up right here, and you push, not down, but you push towards the front of the truck. So you stick your screwdriver in, push towards the front of the truck, so your bottom part of your hand goes up towards your face, and then this will pull straight out. And now we're gonna take off the back side here of this brake pad sensor, and so we can pull out our right side of our brake pad here. For this, we're gonna push this brake pad monitor towards the front of the car. Alright, and that's how our pad went in. So again, notice where your chirper is. This chirper was on the top side pointing towards the rotor, so our new pad will go in the same way. So the chirper at the top side for your new pad pointing towards the rotor, and you'll put it back in just like that, and then you will connect your brake pad sensor to it on the back side. So again, this is how these connect. Your brake pad, this is the old one, this is your brake pad monitor right here, this is your pad, the indentation in which the brake pad monitor goes into, and it just slides in there just like this. This notch right here goes into the notch that's on the brake pad, and you push it in just like that. Alright guys, so just showing you the old pad and the new pad here. So here's our old pad. Here's what that looks like with the wear sensor on there. Here's our new pad, and this is what the new pad would look like with the wear sensor on there. So putting it on the same way as the old one. But first, before we do that, we're going to go ahead and clean up this area right here with a wire brush. So that's why we need our wire brush, just to clean this area up, and then we're going to grease it as well. Okay guys, bringing you back in, we're all greased up. Remember to do the top as well, do what they can see. So they do the bottom part, and then they always forget about greasing the top part as well. So grease the top part as well. Remember to do that. So putting our first brake pad in here, this is the outer side. Remember, our tweeter here goes toward the front of the vehicle and towards the rotor. So this one will go in just like this. There you go, just like that. Your brake pad sensor pad goes just like this, again towards the front of the vehicle for your tweeter and towards the rotor. So it'll go in just like this. Okay, we got both of our pads installed here. Had to give this one a little love tap just to get it in there because the piston was stopping it just a little bit. Still had to squeeze that piston a little bit more, and then give the brake pad a love tap to get it on in there. We're ready to install our brake pad sensor now. So again, this little tip right here is going to face you, and this is what you're pushing down on to get your old one out, like I showed you guys with the screwdriver. And then our bottom part is going to slide just like this into our new brake pad right here. So clip on your top first. So that's in. And then again, if you want to, you can refer to your old brake pad. So just do it like this. All right, so I know that my wear sensor with the tab went in just like this. We just did that. And now the tip of my old sensor was facing me on my old pad, so my new one should go on just the exact same, facing me, because my brake pad is like this inside our caliper here. So when I'm putting my new one on my new brake pad here, my sensor is going to, this nub is going to face me. So I'm going to go into the back side of my pad and go straight towards, or pull straight towards me, because remember we pushed out towards the front of the vehicle to get it off. So now we want to go to the back side and pull towards us to get it inside the pad. So we're at the back side of the caliper here. Sorry I won't be able to give you guys a good amount of light here of our caliper there. Of our brake pad there, right on the back side. Okay guys, coming up on the end of this driver's side here, we are back to the back side of our caliper. So our brake pads are in, our wear sensor is on our harness and on our right inner brake pad, as you guys just saw. So now we're ready to install our rods and clips, and then that'll be it. So again, these slide straight through here. Back that one out a little bit. Got some extra grease here. That's okay. Be careful, you don't want to get grease on the rotor. So that tip for you guys, don't get grease on the rotor. So find your hole in your rod, put your clip through, just like that. Same for the bottom, put that through. And again, I put grease on these just so that they come out easier on the next brake change here. because our next brake change, we're probably going to do our rotors as well, because these are starting to look a little rusty, or pretty rusty on the inside here. The outer sides are fine, but the inners look a little bad. So our clips are on there. Last clip here is this big clip that the brake pads rest on, so that they stay even or wear a little evener. But again, remember, the lips go on the top side, and then these little hooks on the top side and the bottom side, they go on the top and the bottom rods. Boom, just like that. Now your front brake job is complete. So we're going to go to the back now, do that side, and then I'll end the video there so you guys get a and I'll end the video there so you guys get a good shot of the fronts and the rears. All right guys, we are ready to do the back brakes. We put our wheel back on the front side here, tightened our lug nuts down to 140 foot-pounds. So that's what we needed our torque wrench for. So now we're going to do the same with our back side. For me, I told you guys, or I showed you guys in a previous video, how to jack up your truck from the rear diff, and then put your jack stands up underneath there as well, and underneath your axle. But for me and my bad luck, I'm just going to do it from the side and just do one by one. So we're going to continue to use our frame rails and then put our jack stand back there on the axle, just like that, how it is right there. But obviously lift the truck up some more. But when I start taking off my lug nuts, once I get those lug nuts off, then we'll go up higher, pull our wheel off, and then start our brakes. All right guys, we are at the rear driver's side here, showing you guys what we're going to do. We're going to first disconnect our parking brake, and then we're going to take off our sensor here as well. So this unclips right here and unclips right here, just like our driver's side. So you stick your flathead screwdriver in there, pry up, and then pull this out. And then we're going to take off our bracket here. So this top bolt here, this bottom bolt here, these are 14 mil. Use my Milwaukee Impact here, or you can use your 14 manual wrench. That's going to come off, and then we're going to take off our pads, and then you're going to inspect your clips here to see which way your clips go. I've already got mine lined up right here and my pads lined up. And again, just use your visual, take a visual or take a small video on your cell phone, just a panning video, just so you can see where everything is in case you forget. You can refer back to that video. Once we take our pads off, we're going to inspect those as well and make sure we're putting our new pads on the same exact way, noticing where our tweeter is and noticing how our pads go. And remember, don't put your brake sensor pad on the wrong side. Remember, it goes on this side. So our brake pad sensor is right here, which means our inner brake pad is going to be facing us, this notch where our new brake sensor, which is right here, that's where that goes. So this is how this pad is in, and our brake sensor goes on that back side just like this. And then our tweeter goes towards the rotor for that inner pad. Our tweeter here goes towards the rotor for the outer pad. All right guys, showing you guys the top view here, so hopefully you can see this. Hopefully I can get this in one take. We got our brake sensor in the way just a little bit here, so we're going to start with this. So we're going to remove this side here. So again, stick your flathead screwdriver in there, pry up a little bit, and pull this out. Just like that. So there's another tab on this back side here. I just pushed down on it a little bit. So this tab right here, where I'm pointing with the screwdriver, that tab, push down on it and pull out as well. So move this out of the way. This boot has to come off as well, this small little boot. So this little notch right here, just take that, pull that little boot off. Don't lose this. Put that in a safe spot. Your sensor is connected right here with a little O-ring. Move that. You can actually take this whole thing off. Grab your needle nose pliers and should be able to pull this off. Yep, just like that. So this is your brake sensor, pad monitor here. So set that aside. All right, so now we can access our parking brake right here. So there's a tab right here. So this tab right here that I'm pointing at with the screwdriver, you want to push that towards your truck, and then you want to bring your screwdriver back over here and then push towards the truck as well. So push that tab out. Use your thumb on this back side to push down on the back tab here, and use your screwdriver to push forward. So it should come off just like that. So now our parking brake is disconnected. So now we can get off our bolts on the back side of our caliper here, 1 and 2. Using my ratchet, electric ratchet. So there's one there. Remember which one goes at the top and the bottom. There's 2 there. Here's our bottom one. Let's grab our bungee cord. All right, so we're taking off our caliper here. This lifts up and out of the way. Be careful of your brake line. Line right here up on my leaf spring, and use a bungee cord in case it falls. It'll catch right there and not bend up and cause a leak in my brake line. So got our pads right here. As you can see, our outer pad has a lot of life left in it. Our inner pad does not. So some uneven wear here. I've seen this a typical thing on these Sierras and Silverados. I don't know why they're doing that, but it is what it is. So let's pop off these pads. So again, here's our outer one. A lot of life left in it. As you can see, not close to our wear indicator on this side. Still a lot of life left in this pad. But on this one, this one's done. This one actually broke off the tab. So that's pretty much flat right there. So this was definitely time. All right, so now we're on to our tabs here. Remember to make sure and take a video for yourself on how these go back in. I've already set mine up here down on the ground of how these go back in, but these little tabs here, right here, that I'm pointing at with the screwdriver, these are to keep the pad off of the rotor and push them back and have them float as the caliper piston is pushing on them to close onto the rotor. So make sure these are going back in their correct ways. So make a note of how they go in. So all these tabs like this are going to be closest to the rotor on all 4 of these clips. All greased up here, guys. Putting our new clips on. Alright guys, our clips are in. I had to use 2 hands with that, so I threw you guys up on my head right now. But these are our new brake pads going back in. Remember, your inner brake pads, so on the inside of the rotor, inside of the wheel, those are the ones with the notches. The ones that have no notch are the ones that go on the outside for your rear brakes, and the same thing with the fronts as well. The ones with the notch go on the inner side of your rotor, because those are the ones that house your brake pad wear sensors. So let's slide our new pads on here. right, there's one. Remember how they go. Refer back to your video if you forgot. So there we go, just like that. New brake pads are in. So now we have to bring down our caliper and squeeze in our piston, put that back on, put our bolts back on, put our wiring harness back on, reconnect our parking brake, and then we should be all set to put our wheel back on and close up shop here. Take that off. Bring this back down here. Remember not to pull on your brake pad. So now we're going to take our wire brush and clean up this side. This side's pretty fresh. That side looks a little gunky. Alright guys, we got our caliper back on. We had to push our piston all the way back in till it bottomed out to get this back on with our new pads in it. So now all we're going to do is do our reverse process of putting our bolts back in, reconnecting our parking brake, and putting on our new monitoring brake pad monitor. So get our bottom screw here. Get that one in there and start it. One in. Alright, and I'm going to manually tighten it the rest of the way. I didn't want to over tighten it and strip these bolts out. So that's good there. That's good there. Alright, so we're ready to reconnect our parking brake. So that's back on. Remember, we pushed this tab forward, so now we're going to pull it back towards us, or push it back towards us to lock it in. Just like that. Used our screwdriver and not bent our nail back. Alright, so it's not time for our monitor here. Remember, got to put your boot back on your bleeder screw as well. So we're going to set this down in here first. Just like that. Gonna push in. Connect that. That's down seated. Put our bleeder screw boot back on. Just like that. And remember, our tab right here goes on the top side, so reconnect that, and boom, you're done. So ready to put your wheel back on, and then we got the passenger side to do. But that's all I'm going to show you guys. That's all I'm going to show you guys here today. Do the same thing just on the passenger side of the vehicle. So thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay guys, we are finally done with our brake job, all four. I showed you guys the driver's side, front and rear. So now we are going to start the truck and see if our brake menu inside our dash will change and highlight our % sign so that we can reset our brake pad life. So let's turn the truck on, press our brake. I'm gonna actually pump our brakes a little bit because I just pushed it all the way down to the ground and it was loose, probably because we pushed our pistons back when we were putting our new brakes in. All right, so it's firming up now, so we can now push on the brake, start our truck. There's our front % right there. Auto stop start off, pulse RLT, service brake pad monitor. We did that. new pads detected. So there we go, new pads detected, reset brake pad life. So you want to scroll over to yes, you want to click yes, new pads detected, yes. And now we want to get out of brake service mode. So how to get out of brake service mode, we are going to push on the brake, push our so now they're both blinking. We'll push it one more time. Park brake released. So all we did was push on the brake, push in and hold our park brake for about 6 seconds. Our park brake and our service symbol were both blinking. We pressed it one more time and both went off.